Thank you, Trevor. And I'm still sure my tie is better than yours. But I'm here with Gilius here on stage after that 1-1 performance. First off, Gilius, exceptional second game. The first game from you guys, not so hot. What did you feel that you changed up between game 1 and game 2 to create such a stark difference?
I think in the first game, we drafted a bit too low engage. They had Azir, so we were a bit lost in the game. The Azir could just hit us for free. And I think I played the early game really badly, so they snowballed from that and got a free Nash. In the second game, I didn't do mistakes in the early game and we just won. Yeah, I would just say I fucked up the first game.
Well, you say that you had like a disappointing performance in the first game, but you're still 3-1 currently with this team on the first week, and your performances have been exceptional, especially yesterday. So what did you change up coming in from the last split?
I think I got much more confident with the experience from the first split, and I think I just learned from my mistakes from the first split. Like I did a lot of mistakes last split, you could see, and yeah.
I want to expand that as well to the rest of your team, because of course you changed mid laner, but speaking to Sprado as well, like more changed on this team. So was it a mentality change? Was it just the way you approached the game, or what was it?
I don't think it's a mentality change. Like Aika was a really nice guy, but Fox is a really good laner. So that enables me to play much more aggressive as a jungler, because he usually pushes the enemy in. His communication is really good. He tells me when I can pressure the enemy jungler. So yeah, that helps a lot.
It seems like a lot of factors have come together now, and I want to talk about expectations, because coming into the split, 1, how were you feeling, and 2, after your first week, have those expectations changed, or are you feeling good to go?
I think it's nice. We went 3-1. It's looking good for we are just trying to get to the playoffs, top 6. That's our main goal. I'm a bit sad about this game that we just get 1 point, ties are a bit, I don't know how to feel, you only get 1 point, but yeah, I guess it's fine.
Yeah, still a strong week and well on track towards those playoffs. Thank you very much for the interview, Gilius, and of course the 3-1 on the week. We're going to send it now over to the analyst desk to take a look at that game.
Yeah, I should have won the first game.
Yeah, I should have won the first game. I don't know how to feel. Well, 2-0 them?
Yep.
God damn it.
Then you get more than twice the points. Love the outfits, though.
Yeah.
We should have stayed in Elements. We had our own tracksuit.
Are we down that road again?
They look really comfy.
No, about your history as a pro player.
Fine. Shocks, introduce the next topic.
Yeah, well, the topic at hand is obviously Schalke versus H2K, still 1-1. Let's look a bit closer at we're off to a great start. Picks and bans, obviously, they talked, or Gilius mentioned the fact that they felt that they did a bit better in the draft as well. What did you make of it?
Well, this time we didn't see the priority on the Victor. This time it managed to wheeze its way through the draft a little bit later on. But again, we are seeing more priority on this Caitlyn, and I know Rekkles had a couple comments on it during Champs Night.
Yeah, so at least in my experience in scrims, when I played Caitlyn, I think when I'm playing it on side lane, it's quite hard to know where you're putting your trap line exactly, because you're moving back and forth all the time, and you're very vulnerable as well to the TP flanks. So generally speaking, I think Caitlyn is much more effective if she's put mid, because then you have like the specific line with the traps that you can put down, and you're much more safe farming, and you always pretty much have priority in the mid lane. So all in all, I think it's a good pick, but not in every situation, and I feel like a lot of teams like H2K are prioritizing it very high right now, but playing it incorrectly.
Yeah, if you look at it in a vacuum, just pure laning phase, Caitlyn has like 0 bad matchups, especially if you pair her with a range support. She will bully and win any matchup, but sadly, teams are not getting enough advantages out of laning phase, and then you need to look big picture. I'll definitely agree with Rekkles. If you go 1-3-1 double teleport, Caitlyn's a beautiful pick to have in mid lane, because they never can approach your tower. Despite you having kind of slow wave clear, the traps just make it so that nobody can actually challenge your wave clear. You get it down, and you're suddenly in control of the game. But on the side lane, it is so hard to play, and that makes it so you get pushed in. And then one lane, then you have the Maokai getting pushed in by the Echo, and suddenly you're playing at your tower, waiting for the inevitable Gragas flash in.
Yeah, you were mentioning how Schalke and Ulfia in their drafts got priority in every lane, and that shaped the way it went.
Yeah, I guess, as Krepo said, perhaps in laning phase, it was a bit tough for them to get through, but I think at some point, the Sivir is just pushing in the Caitlyn constantly, and there's never really a point where they can leave their towers, because then they open themselves up for the Gragas flash, as you said. And then on the other side of the map, the Echo usually has push priority against the Maokai as well. So I think in general, it was just a matter of time actually before they got caught off guard, which happened in the mid lane, I think, later on in the game, and then they just swooped it from there.
Yeah, let's take a look at one of those fights that got things going, because as you mentioned, it took a while for things to get underway in terms of the action front in this game and for the kills to come in. But here we see some magic from Gilius.
Yes, Gilius. He made a beautiful play to get the pick onto the key members of H2K, and I mean, it was just really great execution from Gilius overall. Really bring out the Gragas in the jungle, something that we haven't seen much high priority on, but he definitely made it work.
Yeah, turned his Twitter fingers into trigger fingers right there. finally able to back up the plays, or the words rather, with his plays. Gilius, newfound confidence. Although in the interview, surprisingly, like mellow, I felt. For somebody that has that much talk on Twitter, I was like, yeah, you know what, should have stomped that first game.
No, I actually love the interview because, you know,
it was a good interview.
I mean, I think he also learned his lesson a bit, you know, not to be overzealous, but they show it through results. He did tweet, you know, I'm going to take all the failures and make it into maybe a World Championship win, who knows. And, you know, it's good to hear that he also, without speaking badly about Ica, of course, attributes it to the fact that the new configuration allows him to do different things.
Yeah, but that's League of Legends, you know, there's a ton of really nice people in this scene, but sadly there are better players out there, and if you can trade Ica for Fox, like 100% do it. Fox, on the Victor and Vlad, just constantly pushing, like Julius said. Every single matchup we see him at least putting pressure on the map, and it's so much easier to play the game when other lanes are pushing.
Fox has really impressed me. I thought that he was a little bit tunneled onto this Vlad and Victor, and I thought, well, now he's playing this Azir, how well is he going to do? But he did have some very impressive performances in the very end when they're pushing into the base, holding on to his ultimate to guarantee the kill down onto Victor, because he was the main wave clear, keeping H2K's hopes alive. And being able to set up those picks and those plays was just really impressive. I'm just very impressed with Fox's performance.
Yeah, I'm impressed with Schalke overall. And in this game specifically, Gilius, of course, impresses us. And he is our player of the game. Not just that beautiful play he had there, but yesterday he also had some runs where he just put a lot of pressure down on the map. And it seems to be working in the whole of Schalke 04 now.
Yeah, they definitely improved. For me, H2K on the other side, though, feels very slow. Is that something you feel as well when you play against them? Because you have the whole probably macro approach, even last season, but it feels like they don't make any plays outside of that skeleton.
Yeah, I guess as I mentioned before, they had a very specific style that they brought into the spring split that they just continued with throughout the whole time. And I guess they still run on that track still. And it's quite predictable in some ways. And I also think, as I said before, it's less effective with freeze. And in general, I think the meta is not really like favorable if you play that way, because you're just going to get double TP'd on constantly if you're the one making the aggressive plays. So I think they'll have to make some changes perhaps moving forward.
Yeah, especially if you look at their track record. We've always said that they're strong in the spring split, but they stopped evolving, or the team's gotten used to them or could predict what they were going to do. So I hope for their sake that is something they can keep revolutionizing this time around.
Yeah, lane swaps especially.
I'm really hoping that we see more Bard from both these teams, because it managed to slip through the pick and ban phase twice now. And
he cried.
We've seen so much prioritization on Bard from not only other teams, but other regions. He's like the most picked support right now in Korea and in China. And the fact that we're not seeing as much value over here in Europe, I think is a bit of a shame.
Yeah, it's actually really hard for me to judge, because you know, the inner fanboy and all the memes, being a Bard one trick myself, he just feels so strong in nearly every situation, but you just require so much time put into it. But I feel after his release, there's now been such a great length of time where these supports should have by now practiced him enough to at least put him to use. We were talking a little bit about this off air too, just the problem with the champion is that a good Bard can single-handedly carry a game, but a mediocre Bard is just bad. Like, it just doesn't work. If you need to know the champion much better than your opponent to really find these plays, and maybe that's what's holding some of these teams back, and they rely on, you know, easier champions like an Analyst or Trundle.
Well, we obviously have a lot to discuss on what's week 1 on the books. It is time for the post-game live.